How you doing, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rolling Over the Hill right here on the Live to Roll channel. And big thanks to all of you for being part of the Live to Roll family, and we really do appreciate you. Before we dive in, let's give a shout out to our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They're top-notch when it comes to durable medical equipment and urology supplies, and their customer service is just as solid. So if you're in need of a wheelchair, rehab equipment, or catheters, give them a call or check them out online. On today's show, we'll be discussing open discussion. Well, we'll talk a little bit about working and retirement and whatever else comes up. So make sure to include your questions, comments, and thoughts in the chat. Hello, everyone. I'm Robert Soto. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle racing accident, almost 52 years now. So I'm still rolling. Let's welcome my co-host, Bobby. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. A little light show today. Maybe we might have Julianne join us a little bit later. Internet problems and weather across everywhere else that
Yeah.
I don't know where everybody is, but we're here. I'm Bobby Rohan. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic of 36 years from a bicycle accident. And yeah, rainy Southern California here.
Yep. Yep.
So I know we might get joined from Julianne, but she said her internet's been out. And am I correct that there was a big internet thing
Yeah.
already
Yeah. It
earlier?
was something like, yeah, it was like a couple days ago or whatever it is. It was, I know I had a little bit of issues with it. I think it was something called Cloudware or something had some problems. It wasn't so much an outage or anything. I think it just got overloaded and it had to kind of correct itself. But I know I had an issue with my, so there were some applications that were affected. I know I had Spotify, and that was one of the big ones that were affected, and that was kind of causing a little bit of
Yeah,
trouble with,
okay. It wasn't
yeah,
internet thing. It was more like whoever
certain,
with their server, I guess, that
yeah,
cloud
yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Because I know mine was kind of affecting my phone along with my connection in my van. I use that auto Android Auto. So I mean, there was some problems with that just because of the apps that I used, that were affected by it.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of strange. Well, I know we usually have an open discussion, and actually, next week, us boys, we're not going to be here because it's Gobble Gobble Day, Thanksgiving in the USA. Um, so we're not going to be here. And then I guess the women uh, are off this week. Wasn't sure why, but just talking with Sean, he was going to put together a show. Sean was going to be here. Then it's his birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Sean.
Yep.
And
Happy
then
birthday.
Julianne's supposed to join us, and we were going to talk employment because she is getting ready to fly to Puerto Rico for her last work scheduled thing for the Abilities Expo that she's been working there for a long time. So she's going to be heading out there. So she was retirement. So we thought we would talk a little bit of employment and retirement and are you looking for a job, that kind of thing, and what it takes and
Yep.
how it looks to you. But maybe we can give a little background on your work because you've done it way longer than I did, but maybe give your two cents into it.
Okay. Yeah. I worked. I've been retired about 8, 9 years now, but I worked right after I worked prior to my injury, but after my injury, I went back to school and continued to work part time and kind of rolled myself into a career. I had a couple options, but I chose the logistics world, which is like trucking and transportation, warehousing, and all that. So I did that. Started that in the mid '80s, and pretty much stayed with the same company from the mid '80s to 2017 or whatever it was. And it was multiple companies, but the same. company just kept getting mergers and buyouts and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I kind of I stuck with that for the most part, which is kind of nowadays a dying breed because most people, stay at a company 3 to 5 years and move on if they want to continue to move up that ladder and expand their backgrounds and things like that. So, but I stayed with the same company, and you looked at the resume. It looked like I'd been all over everywhere, but it was always the same company. And yeah, it was a challenge. I mean, I was on crutches lots of the time there because most of the locations were stairs because it was a warehouse basically, and the stairs were and the offices were upstairs. So I was me being on crutches at that time through my career worked out pretty good because it was made things a lot easier for me. It's towards the end of my career when I started experiencing more health issues in terms of shoulders and things like that, where I started using the wheelchair a little bit more. But I was already established, so that was kind of, beneficial there. And I learned a lot. I knew it was something that I knew when I did go into it. I mean, I already had experience with it, the trucking, and so yeah, it was a journey, and a lot of it was, with the education piece, the foundation, it kind of leveled the playing field for me because if anyone did have any doubts of being someone being in a chair or disabled, whatever their views were on it, I kind of uh, focused on that in a sense. I just wanted to show that I knew what I was doing, but also that they can count on me because I didn't really miss work much at all. So I was there, and once I kind of, and all that reputation that you establish, that takes you a long way with a career.
Sweet. Sorry, you're talking and I'm starting to
Yeah,
adjust.
yeah, nice.
We
Yeah,
got
that's cool.
Julianne was finally able to make it, so I'm gonna
All
go
right, good deal.
as I just kind of readjust this.
It's totally cool that she's going to be able to retire. She's going to love it. I worked hard and all that stuff, but I always had my goal and my plan was to retire as soon as I could. Because I mean, I worked a lot. I was a workaholic, but I didn't like work. And so when I had the opportunity to retire, I jumped all over it. So, it's the first year was a little weird because just, your whole lifestyle and everything changes. But I think she's going to enjoy it.
Trying to figure out how I had her. Julianne, hold on.
Hey,
Hold on, sweetheart.
Hello.
I'm like, I can.
Hey,
very much.
congratulations.
Thank you
Congrats.
very much. So how long ago did you retire?
Yeah, I just was saying 8, 9 years ago. So it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while now.
So the first year is the toughest?
Well, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm
Well, it
wondering.
wasn't. It wasn't the thing about, because like I said, I couldn't wait to retire. But when I finally did, because after you go through the whole process of, well, can I afford it? Can I do this and that? You're all kind of just getting all these thoughts together about being retired. And so I kind of got comfortable with that decision. And then once I did, uh, it takes a little while because I was so much on the schedule always. I mean, my whole life seemed like, especially with the disability, I'm on a schedule. Different programs at times, and then the work thing, and I always worked pretty early, and I did all kinds of shifts. But it once I settled down, I love it. I mean, I can't even imagine myself getting up to go to work. I mean, I just don't know how I did it.
But I mean, you still wake up, as you were telling me the
Oh,
other,
I'm sure, yeah. I'm
like,
still an early
like you're
riser.
still about to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, my sleep habits all those years, I guess, I don't know because before I get a few hours sleep anyway, but once you're up and you have like that absolute purpose to have to be there and all that stuff, I mean, it made you, you were driven. Now I just like, I'll wake up sometimes just to determine and think what day it is,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But no, I'm not complaining about it at all. It's fantastic.
Well, I I've always thought I will never retire. And when I told my kids I was retiring, they just kind of went, "Yeah, yeah. Give you 2 weeks, 2 weeks, mom, and you'll be back doing
Yeah.
something." It's just who you are. And I agree with my kids. I will definitely be doing other things, but I want to choose what I'm doing and especially when I'm doing it.
Yeah,
because
Well,
definitely.
tell us your story, Julianne. For those that don't know, you were one to work before your injury.
yeah, well, I was an actor, singer, dancer for I can't say most of my life anymore, but for a big long time, big chunk. So I was used to get up at 10, go to bed at 2. That's the nightlife way of living. So then got paralyzed, had to support the kids because the husband left. And I applied to a charity to get a van. And when I went down to Advanced Mobility to buy a van, Scott Deacon offered me a job. So all of a sudden, I had to switch to be at work at 8, 9 at the latest, and kind of work a 9 to 5, drop the kids off at school, 9 to 5, sell vans and other adaptive equipment, come home, make dinner, blah, 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 blah. And I actually loved it, except for the getting up early part. So that's really the only time in my adult life that I had the got to be at work at a certain time. And of course, Scott was pretty easygoing about it. But then we got bought by Mobility Works, and that was my first taste of working for a corporation. And I was so naive. I, in the first couple months that Mobility Works owned, the store, and of course, every corporation comes in saying, "We're not going to change a thing. You guys, we bought this company because you guys do such a good job, and everything's going to stay the same." And the first time I believed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
never happens. So as you guys who know me, I've always been, okay, what does the customer need? What does the customer want? All you able bodies are not going to understand. So the reason that you've hired me is because I understand and I can translate to you.
Yep.
Because at that time, I assumed they cared. So naive little me, I wrote a letter and sent it to everybody in the company telling Mobility Works what they were doing wrong and what the customers were saying negative about them and how they could do better.
Oh
Don't
man.
don't.
Yeah.
That's it. Send it to everybody in the company. Yeah. Um, got pulled into a meeting where they went, "Are you trying to get fired?" And I went, "Why would you fire me? I'm giving you information that's important to you." Yeah, no. So I tried to learn from that, but keeping my mouth shut is not one of my strong suits if I believe passionately in something. So, yeah, that I stuck in for 6 years and quit. And then within a couple months, David and Lou offered me a job working for the Abilities Expo. And it was the first time Abilities Expo started in 1979. It was the first time they'd ever had somebody with a disability working for them. And this was 2012.
But did you? Let me back up. Did you go freelance after Mobility Works? Like, because added Ability Center.
Yeah, I actually tried driving down to Stanton and joining their team. Dan Monahan is just a great guy. But yeah, I wasn't going to do that drive every day. So yeah, I did. I started working from home and loved it. Just loved it. So I wasn't making enough that you could, support a family on it, but it kept me busy. And then the Abilities Expo thing came along, and they said, "You keep your own hours." And I said, "I can work part time. I'm not going to work full time." That was fine with David and Lou, and blah, 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 blah. So happy, happy, joy, joy for about 11 years. And then we got bought by a corporation, and I went, "Okay, I know how this goes."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember the story. Don't send a letter to the entire company. So, Raccoon Media has actually been a really good corporation. They've been good for the show in a lot of ways, and their intentions are very good. I'm just not the corporate type. I don't want somebody telling me when to work, how to work, and I don't want to keep giving reports on what is going to be selling in the next week. Yeah, no, not me. Not me at all. So I hung in for a couple more years and then just went, I'm not having fun. And if you're not having fun, do something different.
Yeah.
So that's my long-winded way of saying tomorrow will be my last day there.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay,
Wow.
I thought you had one more trip to Puerto Rico.
Uh, well, I'm going to Puerto Rico this
Okay.
weekend, but but that's just for a family trip. Nope, tomorrow is my last day.
Wow.
Officially working. I told them I would still be an ambassador for the LA show.
Hmm.
So, because, the Abilities Expo is one of the great loves of my life, and I want to do anything I can to support it. I just didn't want to get to the point where I hated it because I didn't like the way I had to work.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And you can tell that was already happening.
yeah,
How,
yeah.
what was the um after your injury, how long did you start working for Scott? Was it like a year after, 2 years after?
About a year after.
About a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because at that point, I was still walking with a walker and using an SUV and walking, getting out of my wheelchair, hiking myself up into the back of the SUV, sitting on the edge, pulling my wheelchair
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
then
Yep.
walking with the walker to the driver's seat. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So one of my friends
It was
said,
all.
"Oh,
It was all. It was all about technique right then.
oh yeah," and I was 36, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
didn't have the concept of what I was doing to my shoulders, right?
So
Yeah.
I know Robert. Robert, you probably were never on any, you know, support or anything like that. Meaning you didn't have to collect
No.
Medicare,
No.
or
Yes.
you were always
Yeah.
on your own, right? Because of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Julianne?
I went on Social Security disability pretty much right away, and as you know, that takes a while to kick in.
Hmm.
So actually, my first job after injury was working for Wings, and I was helping Michelle out doing some stuff for Wings, and but at that time, you could not make more than $800 a month, or you lose your
Jeez.
benefits.
Which,
I know.
for anybody that doesn't know, Wings was a nonprofit organization that helped out with support groups. We did support groups and grants.
Yeah, and raise money every year
Yeah.
with a fashion show and then a comedy show. So we had two fundraisers a year.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was fun. It was the precursor to Triumph, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And then in that time, after like working for the expo, at any time did you ever have to go back on Social Security or anything like that?
No, no, I made a pretty good living there. In fact, I haven't been on Social Security at all since whenever that was, 97 through maybe 99.
Hmm.
So it's been a while,
Right.
but that's going to come up in my future somewhere,
Well,
I'm
most,
sure.
yeah, you're going to get your retirement benefits, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But unless I'm making a fortune doing God knows what. But my main thing is I want more time. I want more time doing things that make me happy,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so I'll get to you, and I guess I can give my background of work. I was 17 when I got hurt. I had always worked at, babysitting, car washing, you name it. Then started getting into, working for, I worked for a friend's mom, but it was at the mall, um, gift wrapping anybody who bought it was a crystal, like they would have crystal vases or vases and little figurines and stuff like that. And here I am, a 16-year-old kid, wrapping this crap, going, you know, this thing's $400, and I got to put this, And at the time, $400 was like having $4,000. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then she'd be like, "Oh, go clean all the shells out over there." It's like, oh my god! But hey, she was paying me pretty good for at the time, and I wanted to support myself whenever I
Yeah.
wanted something. I didn't want to ask mom and dad because I
Yeah.
already knew the answer. No. So
Yeah.
um, and then I started working for uh, Subway and oh god, Baskin Robbins and places like that.
I
So
never knew you did all that.
yeah, I think it was Baskin Robbins and Subway was. I was working at Subway when I got hurt, and then the funny thing is, my brother got my job after, but right away for my injury, I didn't go back to work right away. Everybody's like, "Well, what about school? What about school? What about school? What about school?" Well, I was already a terrible student, and it's like,
Yeah.
why do I have to have an injury where everybody's going to tell me to go back to school?
Yeah, yeah, that's all. That's all you hear. Well, because and either whether discipline or not, it was just the thing of the era for me. Everyone was going to college. And that's when
Right.
bachelors were a big deal still. Now,
Right.
it just was the nature of that era.
But I mean, it made sense. It wasn't a student, like, I wasn't being like, are you nuts? But because I got to figure myself out because of the things that I wanted in life, meaning like, oh, I want to be a professional athlete. Well, if I can't do that, my next would be, something, where I'm not stuck in a building, meaning like I might not want to be a cop or a fireman or,
Yeah,
something like that, something that doesn't keep me in an office where eventually I did wind up
Yeah.
in the hospital. But so, yeah, I was like, well, I got to go back to work to figure, to do a lot more learning. So um, then as I was doing college and I was around 22 is when I got my first job at it was called Rehabilitation Center. And I was
Was
at
that rehabilitation designs?
Rehabilitation Designs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
yep,
And uh, it was during a summer break. I'm like, I'm not doing summer school, so let me see if I can get a job. And asked him, hey, can I get a job? And he goes, well, what can you do? And I was like, I don't know. But if you hire me, maybe it might not be a mistake. And he hired me, and I worked for
yeah,
him,
right.
just, helping out the front desk, answering phones and stuff like that, till it turned into when I was doing wheelchair sales and running to the hospitals and schools to do measurements for you know kids and adults newly injured, to somebody getting their second or fourth chair, or um, one of my clients that came in was oh Annette Fudicello. She came
Yeah,
in. I did a wheelchair for her. Somebody that everybody knows on the West Coast. I don't know East Coast, but her name was Johnny Erickson, and she had a big what would you call it? Church following or
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
fellowship?
nonprofit.
Yeah, and so I helped her out, and um, a couple other people that were kind of well known. So I loved it. I mean, it was great until the business ran dry, and uh, it just wasn't the same with trying to collect from insurances. And we
Yeah.
were a single owner, and you know, sometimes a game when you're just you have bigger companies out there that have multiple locations, they get the bigger discount. So we weren't getting the bigger discounts, and at the time, of course, uh, our you know insurances weren't paying us, like especially CCS. they weren't paying us. So
Mm.
by the time we get paid, the person had already had their chair for 180 days,
Ooh,
Yeah.
210 days. Do you know what the manufacturers want their money for that one? They want it like a week after you sign. You know,
yeah,
they
Yeah.
they want to be paid right away. So you tell me, how do you pay your bills when insurance companies are 180 to 210 days
right.
Yeah.
behind, paying you, and then even trying to pay less. Oh, now that we review it, we really don't think, Julianne, you needed that type of wheel. It was
Mhm.
just insane. You're like, wait, you said yes when we sent
Yeah.
a pre-op.
Yeah.
We sent a pre-op, and then they would renege after the pre-op. So
Uh,
yeah.
Oh man.
So then I tried to go into the catheter business, and then wound up, because I worked for what we were just discussing, Wings, uh,
mhm.
doing a lot of peer counseling, or peer mentorship. I, was sought out by Rancho Los Amigos, a major hospital, that came and asked me if I'd want to work, and I worked for them for 12 years.
Was it really 12?
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Was that a 9 to 5, Bobby?
Um, yes, 9 to 5, 4 days a week. So when I reached out, or when they reached out to me, I figured I had a little bit of leverage, and I'm like, I will take this position. It was a supervisor. I supervised the whole department, and I just said, I either 5 days a week for my body
Yeah.
might not cut it. So they agreed upon it, and so I only had to work 32 hours a week, and
Nice.
So why did you leave?
after after COVID hits, working from home, I loved it.
Yeah.
And then when I had to go back, knowing things like COVID and people having to wear your mask all the time, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
working at a hospital, people are coming in sick. I was just like, oh, I so want to leave. And my wife just said, listen, she had just retired a couple years before that, and she just said, hey, if we watch our pennies, you know, we can get by, retire. So I retired early.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was
I,
it a tough adjustment?
what's that?
Was it a tough adjustment retiring?
Not me. Come on. Not me, man. I've been playing, loving life. Oh man, I've been having no. Yeah, I don't. I miss it sometimes, but and I'm sure we're all gonna kind of agree here, and I think this is gonna be for your case, Julianne. Is you get yourself involved in something else. It just, you don't have to work as hard. And I get paid through coaching fitness classes online, um, and I have a other couple other small little jobs off to the side. So um, I work little here, little there, and then I have a lot of my fun time, meaning get to ride my hand cycles and go out and play and not worry about a schedule. If I want to kick it one day, I can kick it one day. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
And so since you've retired, Bob, what about you and keeping yourself busy?
Um, okay. Well, mine is, I didn't really look for anything to keep myself busy. I retired. Everyone said, "Hey, what are you gonna do? Travel?" And all that. I'm gonna do nothing. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I don't mind hanging around the house, a couple days a week or whatever. If I don't want to do anything, I mean, that's the whole purpose. I worked, 42 years in Julian's. I did the corporate thing, and after a while, that just a burnout, just the responsibility, the stress, and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I already did it. So whatever I wanted to do. So what I did though, what I always kind of wanted to do was get reconnected with the community. So I had the opportunity, when I met Andrew and Rancho, my intentions were always to do something with Rancho because That's where I was at when I did my rehab. And so I slowly got into it and started enjoying it. It was something that, I got fulfillment out of, and it wasn't stress or pressure or anything like that. And so that's where I got myself involved. But the thing is what I find myself too, what I'm real cautious on is although I enjoy being around the community a lot and, giving my time and all that stuff, I don't want to become where I have to do something and it becomes a job again,
Right.
because that's what changes the whole focus mentally for me because it's something that I want to do. But if I get so involved where I'm, doing 5 days a week or 4 days a week or just weird things on the weekend or so, I don't want it to be a job. I want to be able to still enjoy it and feel good about what I'm doing. And like I said, my career, I was I was self sufficient on it. It took care of all my needs, and of course, I always wanted more money, but it just, it worked out okay. And it was and my career was something that fit. I didn't have to adjust my life for it because I was kind of already involved with it. I had an opportunity because I worked for ABC television and radio before because I was going to school for that. So I had an opportunity there to go with the transportation world, the logistics world, or broadcast type things. So I chose the trucking because that's what I knew and that's what I was got paid more at it because with the entertainment industry and all that, you really started out doing peanuts and working all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I made that decision and it worked out okay. And it was something doable from a wheelchair or crutches or whatever. It just said I was younger and it was easy for me to go up and downstairs and all that stuff. Then, you know, and when I got into corporate, because I had to be transferred to Utah, so I had to live in Utah, and the job was a lot of flying, in within the United States, but and just after a while, get leaving on a Monday, coming back on a Friday, suitcase, have the weekend, then get ready to do it again, So
Yeesh.
the timing was right for me, but also the career was right for me because I was able to do it without, it was like an office job. It was, other than the flying.
Did you have to
Yeah.
go out to the docks or the where the trucks?
Yeah, the warehousing and stuff like that. I walked the truck yard and all that stuff to make things. But I was more like in management because there were Teamster drivers. I managed like there was 500-600 drivers, 300 and some stores, things like that you were accountable for. And also with the team. I mean, there was a team of us, but it was a lot of pressure. Everything was, the stores had to have products, especially at the holidays. Thanksgiving was the Super Bowl for us, right? And so it was okay. It was really good. I enjoyed it at the beginning. Yeah, I was gung ho and all that. Then aging kind of takes over, and the experience, after that, I was done. I want to do, like you said, I wanted to do stuff for myself,
Yeah.
because after a while, I was just kind of burning out on, I've been doing it a long time, 40 plus years. So that's why I really enjoy it now, and I like doing what I like to do, which is helping and volunteering, and um, yeah, it turned out to be one of the best things I did, and I was glad that was part of my end cap on my plan.
Now,
No.
did you ever have, either one of you guys, did you ever have kind of an identity crisis of, okay, well, who am I now? If I don't have a job, then who am I now?
Uh, no, I didn't. I was good. I go, yeah, I'll figure it out no matter what. But yeah, no, I didn't feel any less or anything like that not working. I really gave a lot of myself and sacrificed a lot of myself to my job. I mean, when I was younger, I'd hurt my shoulder. I wouldn't take off. I'd go back and just kind of just work through it. And in the long run, that you know took over my body and kind of wore me down.
Hmm.
And so that was
Well,
that's something that I should have been a little bit different done differently.
but what I've noticed in my job, yeah, I don't, some I at first maybe I felt like things were going by that I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, now I'm missing that on that. But but a lot of it was like after a while, I wasn't missing because I was enjoying what's here, and I don't mind being quiet. I don't need all that attention and things like that. So really, I didn't mind it. I mean, I liked, the quietness of my day and not being filled like I got to rush and I got to get up. I mean, I still get up at a certain time, and one of the little side tracks that I have to start coaching at 7 in the morning.
Woof.
Yeah. No, wait. I'm sorry. 7 and no, yeah, 7. My first class I start at 7, and then the other one I start at 9. And I love that schedule. I like to be up early. I like,
Yeah, that's me.
and the
I'm
days
an
I
early
don't,
morning guy.
I kind of like, I'm like, what do I do now today? But even that, I already have something planned out. I mean, I was, busy with, you know, working out or going for a nice bike ride or, finding, going to lunch with somebody. So, I started just, it never really, missed by. And then now, like, um, you know, I don't feel like life is so havoc anymore. And because,
Yeah,
like, I think uh, Bernard said it somewhere, but, his body going through a 40-hour week is just,
Yeah.
it's a lot on us, and I like that it's not so much on me anymore and that I can enjoy. If I have to have a kind of keep calm day, meaning, just because I overdid it on one day or something, or those days that you had a UTI. How many times I went to
Mhm.
work going, I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like I have something and this sucks, and and then sometimes I'm at work and I'm like, it's noon and I'm like, oh, man, damn it, I just feel like crud. And I got
Yeah.
this
yeah.
one more appointment before I can even want to go home, And I had a great boss. So do not get me wrong, man. If I needed to go home early, she understood. Um,
Mhm.
so she's like, "Oh yeah, go if you don't feel good." But a lot of times I felt bad and I wanted to stick it out. So
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's
Stop rushing around so much.
yeah.
I don't like being in a hurry, but that's been most of my life. I've
Well,
been
yeah,
in a
well,
hurry.
that's what I was gonna say. That's it. I just there was never enough time.
Yeah.
You even when you had vacation time, you take off a week. That week coming back was awful because you're trying to play
Ugh.
catch up. You have your regular work going
Mhm.
on, plus what you missed out on, and people tried to do it, and they most of the time mess it up. So you're undoing what they did to do it right, and then still get caught up. But yeah, I don't miss that. None of that at all. There's
yeah,
no way. And I worked for a company, they were good to me, but they had no clue what I was all about in terms of my disability. They just know that I was there every day and doing my job. Um, and most of mine, like I said, was upstairs. There were a lot of offices upstairs, and fortunately for me, the crutches were part of my life then.
Mm.
And once I got established and things, as I started getting older towards the end of my career, I was using the chair, so they were conscious about things like that, but all along it was I was there and they didn't know what it took to be there every day.
I think, and and this will be for you, Julianne, right here where Angry Quad said, "You never retire, you just morph."
Yeah.
I kind of like that. He always comes up with some great sayings and the way he's thinking. So, that's what I feel like I've done. It just morphed into something different. Now I know for my wife, the way she had to retire is she got kind of forced out. Somebody bought into the business, bought the practice that she worked for a doctor for, I think it was 25 years. And when he was retiring, he sold the practice. And, here my wife was the highest paid one there as the office manager. And
Oh,
he can tell, you know,
Yeah, what
it's only a
the
matter of,
protocol.
and then
Yeah,
unfortunately, after she had her aneurysm, uh,
yeah.
you know, that was a perfect time for them to get rid of her.
Yeah. That's what I thought she quit because of her illness, but
Mm-mm.
yeah, my my blood pressure
No,
what
it
it
wasn't.
was
I'm sorry. It wasn't that. And let me just back up just real quick.
yeah.
Sorry, Julianne. It wasn't that. She, because the new the new doctor was stressing her out so much, I told her, why don't you take a leave of absence, a stress leave? And she did for 3 months. And then when she came back, they're like, oh, yeah, the position's no longer needed. So the way you can do it ethically in those stupid jobs, that's what they did. And
Mm,
she was never able to go back. But I knew,
mm-hmm.
even I go, Ellen, even if you were going to go back, come on. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I cut you off. Sorry, Julianne.
Oh, just my doctor said something's got to change because my blood pressure was pretty regularly, like kind of like,
Elevated.
190 over 150, and they're like, yeah, not good. So they put me on more and more meds, and I just kept saying, well, I think once I'm out of this job, it's going to come down naturally. So that's what I'm counting on, because like the guys are saying in the chat, it's a full-time job taking care of our bodies, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
think back to
yeah,
when it first happened. You get up, you do the bowel program, you take a shower, you get dressed, and you go back to bed because you're exhausted
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
Yeah,
And
and I remember that was another big reason. And, it did say my ass was saved by a colostomy bag. But beforehand, I never was the person to do it at night. I just, it wasn't.
yeah, me neither.
Even
yeah, yeah.
morning,
Me, yeah, same,
you
same
know,
here.
by the time you get to work after a morning routine like that, you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to go home now. So,
Yeah,
and, I know, for a lot of us, that is the case because of either the timing your people can come in and help you out. And I know there's some out there that would love to work, but it just, sometimes our day to day routine can't fit that in. Meaning,
yeah,
you find somebody to help you, but you're asking them like, hey, can you be here at 5:30 so I can be at work by 8?
Right.
And they're like, well, really, I'd rather. Yeah, they hold you. They have more clout than what you can
yeah,
tell.
Yeah.
They're the ones that get to be the boss when they
yeah.
say,
Yeah. It's
really,
who's working for who.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for a job to start at 8. And most likely they'll find somebody who can accommodate that. And you're like, now I might have found the best one, but they didn't want to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning, so.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that was hard at first for me to find some people like that. But, they're out there. I'm not saying they're not. But, and then on top of it is, yeah, I think it was Leon that said, your day to day routine of, you know, getting dressed nice and this and that. And by the time you get out there, um, it's a lot. I
yeah.
wish it was a little easier. When you're younger, it was. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
freak
We
and
had more energy, right?
yeah, yeah. It was
yeah.
like I loved
More
it.
resilient,
I
resilient.
believe this. I know you're not going to believe it, but I would even go in on Saturdays, not even needing to be, it wasn't a payday. I would just go in if I had a free Saturday to catch up on some
Oh,
work.
yeah, not me.
What do you,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. But
Yeah,
that.
I've been
Go ahead.
working 7 days a week as long as I can remember. You know, just
Yeah.
there's no time off when you're in sales.
Yeah, I know for me coming up through the ranks, I had every shift and it wreaked havoc with my bowel program and all that. I'd start out sometimes, you do Monday through Friday, then that would change. Then you'd be having split days off during the week and your hours would be 6 at night to, over midnight, whatever. I mean, it was all
Wow.
over the place. And, that 10 o'clock at night. And it helped me with my career because, I had all the experience from different shifts and stuff but going through all that was such a process on my body.
yeah,
I worked through it and all that, but man, I look back, what a hassle it was.
Yeah. One thing I think I've done to help the universe a little bit is anytime there was an able body working with me, who wanted to know my schedule, was giving me pressure about where I had to be and what time and all that, I sat them down and explained the bowel program to them. And so once you mention the words bowel program, the
Yeah,
amazing see how people just shut the
Yeah.
fuck up, and they're yes. So I had a sort of a safe word with my current boss, Katie from England. And I said, because we travel, I have to be down on the show floor by 9 o'clock. And I'd say, well, if there's a problem with my bowel program, I will just text you the word bananas, as she said, bananas. And that means things have just gone a little south and I won't be there on time.
Yeah.
So,
I,
but I think the people who don't live our lives, I think we need to show them a little bit more what we go through, because it's human nature to assume that your life is the hardest, and there's other people. It's got to be easier for them.
yeah, absolutely. I think, just, whoa. I just looked at the clock, man. We've been,
Oh
I know.
crap!
Yeah, no, I thought it was like, almost like we still had it half an hour, but it's been going so quickly. So, and everyone in the chat, thanks a lot. Bernard, you're too funny. Uh,
Yeah.
when I was working at Rancho, Bernard was one of my guys who came in for the support group I ran. So love you, Bernard. And I know that was a big deal for Bernard working, and he did have a job for a short time, and everything he's saying, I've heard it, Bernard, at your support group, at my support groups. So I feel like I'm running another support group. Um,
Nobody ever argues with explosive
yeah.
diarrhea.
Yeah.
Um,
That's angry quad. That's
What?
good.
and that, dang, I should have not looked at the clock and threw me what I was going to say. I think just overall in general, I mean, I don't, when I see somebody who's not in a chair, not working, I don't question it like I used to when I was younger. Um, uh, but I think now you do what works best for you. If I can
Yeah.
give anybody advice about, going to work, do what's best for you. I mean, it paid off for me in the long run. Um, you know, I was blessed when I got hurt that I got a little bit of something from my injury, that it was somebody's fault, that a bus parked um, in a stupid no stopping at any time in front of a fire hydrant, and far away from the curb, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I just, that wasn't going to be enough to live to the age that I was going to live, especially nowadays too. So I was
Mhm.
blessed that I had a drive to want to go to work. And it beat me up a good amount. I'll tell you that. There was years, Julianne knows, like, pneumonia from time, bronchitis one year. So, um, you know, but overall, I'm glad I am blessed to live in a house and paid an expensive mortgage, but that also helped because I met somebody. But if it was on my own, I think with the working I did over the years, I would have been able to buy my own house. Well, I did. Actually, I
Yeah,
did. With when I worked at rehabilitation, I made up enough to build or buy a house. At the time, it was really cheap.
yeah. I remember you all by yourself hauling manual chairs in and out of the back of the van and then wheeling them into the hospital. I don't know. To this
one by
day, I don't know how
one.
you did it, Bobby.
Yeah, yeah, crazy, crazy. But long story short, I just want, when you're thinking about working, um, some people are blessed to find the job that can find somebody to uh, work around you and your schedule. Like it seems like when you worked for the Billy's Expo with Lou, they worked around you, and that helps a lot. When I got my job at Rancho, my boss worked around me a lot,
Mhm.
and I was blessed for that. Now, my first job working, in a chair with, and you know who it was, Mike Cotlin. There was, that was cutthroat, um, once in a while he's like, "Oh, sorry, you're not feeling good, but are you going to get this done today?"
Yeah.
As I'm sitting there
Yeah.
shaking,
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, um, but I get it. Especially if you're a higher quad, um, you know, dealing with a lot more than what I think we have to do. It gets hard. Um, I think it's not for everybody in a chair. Now,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you can't get those side jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Work on the side, find a little project, or get yourself involved in something. There's so many things you can get yourself involved with. It could be like a Rotary Club, or a nonprofit where you can help out. You never know.
Yeah, I
And,
want to be
and
able to spend more time with Triumph and Live to Roll, because
yeah.
for the last many, many years, I've just my intention is there. I just don't have the time.
Yeah,
Yeah. And be selective in terms of if you are choosing a career, if you're really going for the long term, be selective and be realistic about the option that you do take, because not you may want to do this, but it's really think about it and think of everything about it. It may not be doable. So there's so you kind of, I'm not saying you're limiting yourself, but don't start out being behind the eight ball already,
Oh
because
yeah,
there's some things out there, because even if it's something suited for you and all that, you still feel like you're gonna be behind the eight ball, because it's just the pressures and stress. For me, it was that, but I kind of thrived off that for a while. Towards the end of my career, when I was getting tired, I go, this is ridiculous. I'm working harder, not smarter,
yeah,
should
yeah.
have been working smarter.
yeah. So, any plans, Julian? I mean, I know you've always been a person of the arts, with all your paintings.
Golly, I
Yeah,
want to spend more time in my garden, more time with my painting, all kinds of stuff like that. But at the same time, I've had a bunch of people offer me jobs as product reps. So when I was working for Abilities, I couldn't represent a single product because I represented, so many products. I couldn't play favorites. So yeah, and anybody who offered me a job, I said, okay, so here's my rules. Give me tell me what the goal is. Um, give me the tools and then leave me alone. And you don't have to pay me a dime until I sell something, and I'll sell your shit for you as long
Yeah.
as I believe in the product. And
yeah.
if I don't believe in it, I wouldn't start. So I think that's probably where I'll end up going. But at least through the holidays, I want to do as much nothing as I can.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Enjoy it. I was kind of the same thing, when I knew I was going to have some things to bring in, a little bit of cash, for some extra money here and there that we need.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and then I'm already a ambassador for the Able accounts now that they're changing the age as of January 1st. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that goes, because I'm looking forward to seeing if with an Able account, then if I can get Social Security without and still make money. And
Yeah,
I don't
and they raised the age to what, 40 something, in
46.
the 40s? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to. It used to be that you had to have been injured before the age of 26, which left me out. But yeah, as of January 1st, it becomes you have to have been injured before the age of 46. So it's going to let a lot more people have able accounts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big jump.
yeah,
So you can stash your funds, and it's invested, so you can make a little bit on it, and it doesn't count against any of your benefits.
hmm
So for us,
that's
it's
nice.
called Cal Able,
But are
if you
you
want to.
collecting the regular your retirement Social Security?
Well,
Or
I've
you
always been an independent contractor, so
okay?
there's no official retirement, and from this particular job, yeah, and I have a sunset clause in my contract, so whatever I've sold, I will continue to get paid on as people pay their bills. So 2026, I'll have enough just fine, and who knows what 2027 is going to bring.
Yeah, really.
We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring some
We
days.
don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Nope. Have to go
Uh,
to see what happened.
yeah. With that, Robert, you want to get us to that golden hour?
Yep. Okay, let's take a moment to thank the sponsors who help support Live to Roll, mobility professionals and urology professionals. If you are in need of a wheelchair or any other durable medical equipment, reach out to mobility professionals. They proudly serve the Southern California region and are truly part of the community. They understand our needs because they live the life as well. And for your catheter and urology supply needs, their sister company Urology Professionals has you covered. They serve clients nationwide, so no matter where you're at in the US, you can count on them for quality products and excellent customer service. We're grateful for their support and for the work they do to keep us and our community rolling strong. That's Urology Professionals.
Yeah.
Yay. Thanks, John Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely a good guy.
Yeah.
Bernard, I think you said it. You looked up to Dean and Anthony. Uh,
Yeah.
Anthony is, speaking of that company having those who work in chairs. Now, Anthony, our friend
Yep.
here in Southern California, works for Mobility.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. Last I talked to him, he was
Yeah.
looking for
yep,
a job.
yep. So he's
Yeah.
looking
Well,
for
he's got it. He
urology.
got it, and he's going to be working more in the Valley area towards that area. So
Oh, good.
Yeah.
that's going to work out for both.
So we got Anthony and Dean.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah. So happy for them. So, any last words on working, Julianne?
Nope, I'll be back with the girls, rolling with the Golden Oldies on December 4th, I think, whatever the first Thursday in December is. So I'll be right back from Puerto Rico and I can catch you up on what it's like not having to wake up at 7 and go,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
now what?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, if you know, I'll say this off that as my saying. If you're somebody, and we just had somebody just mentioned that he retired this year and got bored. That wasn't the case for me. You know, I think if you're that outgoing person, and not to say you're not, SG, I just I found that, you know, I was able to fulfill myself of stuff I wanted to do, like be a fitness, you know, the fitness coach, and uh, helping out my local nonprofit with Triumph, and a couple other little things that I could help out with in Special Olympics. And um, yeah, it doesn't bring in the money it used to, but I'm able to collect, you know, my retirement, and I'm able to make a little bit, and still keep busy and have time to play when I want to go, you know, um, cycling or go down to the beach and push. So my two
Yeah.
favorite things to do, and
Yay!
hang out with friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Robert, any
Well, you
last
guys,
words before we hang up?
it's been great. I'm glad my internet came back for me
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
and lasted.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, where is she?
Mhm.
So, any
Well,
last
hopefully
words,
I'll
Roberto?
see you guys at some of the Triumph Christmas parties all
Yeah,
over
Yeah.
Southern
That's coming
California.
up.
So,
That's
yeah.
tis the season. Yeah.
yeah,
My
and then
parting shot. Yeah. My
go
parting
ahead.
shots for today is just to enjoy life as much as you can. Uh, Work hard, and for me, I played hard too, but just enjoy life. Don't put yourself in a corner where you know you're no place to go. So
Yeah.
just enjoy life.
And then when you're retired, you can go pick up friends uh, across the and then just drop them off across
Yeah,
the other town. So thanks for
yeah,
that. Robert came
yeah. No
by.
problem.
He drove all the way out to my house, picked my ass up to drive me out of his way to go pick up my van. So thank you, Robert.
No
Aw,
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. My pleasure.
And if you're here in the Southern California area, stay dry. It was
Yeah, it's
cool.
coming down now.
The whole
Yeah.
time we were online, I just been watching the rain just really come down here. So
yeah, it's
kind of
beautiful.
nice. Yeah. All right, everybody. With that, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all those
Yep.
comments. If you haven't done so, please hit that smash like button. It helps out the channel. And yeah, thanks everybody. Jay and Leon, our usuals, and Bernard, thanks for coming in. And everybody else that were commenting, thank you so much. And with that,